welcome back to art class. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be trying to assemble our sculpture. And in order to do that, there is going to be a little time lag for getting to actually assemble it. One of the reasons why is because, unfortunately, our piece of paper that we did these on is a little flimsy all by itself. Just like when we did the base, we folded it over and now it's probably pretty stiff. It's almost like thin cardboard. And we're going to need to do something kind of similar to this piece here. So you're going to need a second white piece of paper so that we can glue this down to this, like that. And this is going to take a little while for it to dry and work. So let me kind of show you how it would be best to glue it. Other things you will need, you'll need these 3 markers again, red, blue, and black. You'll need some scissors, and it's good to have a pencil. All right, so when you're gluing, you're going to want to use dots of glue, and you don't want to be right on the edge. And basically, you're going to create kind of a grid pattern with your glue. There's no specific measurement to use, but we don't want to add a ton of glue to this because the more glue we use, the longer it takes to dry and the harder it's going to be able to be used. Okay, now I don't want to put the pieces together yet, and then I'm going to close my glue. And one of the reasons why they have this nice rounded nozzle is so that you can spread glue out really thin. And that's what we want to do. We want to spread the glue out to be as thin as possible and try to cover as much as the paper as we can. Now, does that sometimes mean you need to add an extra dot of glue because there's an area you can clearly see that did not get any glue? Like I can see a couple here in the middle. I didn't get glue, so I just add a dot there and then spread it out. You want to be pretty quick with this so that the glue, because it's so thin, will start to dry pretty quick. We don't want to take too much time. Okay. I'm going to just carefully lay this picture on top. Try to center it as best I can, as quickly as I can, because it's going to start to stick really good because it's so thin. Okay, and then I'm going to spread it out, smooth it out. And we're going to let it sit for a minute, probably about, I'd say half an hour to an hour, just to let it dry. All right, now that we're dry and we're ready to go, so the next part is to actually cut these out, okay? So I still have my pencil lines, and that's what I'm actually going to cut on. Okay, so now I have all my pieces cut out. There's a little bit of a problem because I knew ahead of time that we were going to have to glue another sheet to this. I didn't have you do anything to the backs yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your marker and you're going to then outline in black like we did before. Like that. And then you're going to use your blue or red and you're going to make your designs just like you did before. What's really nice though is it does not have to match, so I don't have to make the front and the back match. They don't have to be the same. have our pieces. If you notice, I still have my scrap handy, so the scrap is still there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start building our sculpture. You're going to want to take 2 decent sized pieces. Like this is a little too big. I like to take ones that are flat on the bottom because they're easier to work with for these first parts. So I'm going to take these 2. And I'm going to need to get them to stand up here. Now there's 2 ways to do it. One way is because the glue did not go all the way to the edge, I'm going to bend these at the bottom here and flatten them out. They make so they're like a little flat tab, and then I can take my glue, put a few dots of glue, I'm going to use the nozzle to spread it out. Again, thin glue is what we want for this project. And put it on my base here and hold it down, got to like about 10. So it stays. Okay, so like this one, I can't do that with. It won't separate. So that's where your scrap comes in handy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a snip of extra, and I'm just going to separate the 2 pieces. And if you can't separate them, that's okay, but I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to bend it in half and make a little tab. So I'm going to glue, get a glue bottle that works. There we go. I'm going to glue, small dot, a tab to this side. It's okay if it covers up part of your drawing. I'm not going to be worried about that. Then I need to use the other piece or cut another piece depending on how it worked out. Do a little dab. Okay. I'm going to glue it to the other side of this. So now I have a tab on each side. I'm going to try to make them as level as I can. Again, just using a little bit of glue and spreading it out will work better than having tons of glue, because tons of glue takes a long time to dry. All right, so I'm going to put a couple dots here, small dots, and I'm going to use the nozzle just to spread it out. And now I have 2 pieces that are relatively standing up straight, so I'm going to show you from the side here, like that. Now, what I really want to do is I want to start building this structure up. Okay, so I'm going to take this other big piece that would actually be able to go across like this, and it will actually help support these 2 pieces standing up. But as you can see, there's not really any tap. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little snipping. So first, I'm going to figure out where I want it to go. So I want it to be right at this level. So I'm going to do a little snip so that I could slide this in there. But that doesn't lock as good as I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little snip on here. So there's a little snip here. And then I'm going to lock the 2 snips together like that so they overlap. And now it stays much better. Then what I'm going to do is, that's where your pencil can come in handy. I'm going to mark. I'm going to mark where I need that snip to go. I'm going to take my scissors. Always do a small snip. You can always cut more, but do a small one at first and then just check. All right, that's good. Let's see. And then I need to cut right there. So like that. And then I'm going to put the 2 snips together so they crisscross like that. And now you can see it's starting to hold itself up a little bit. Now one of the problems is, yeah, it will want to wobble one way or the other. It's kind of the problem with using thin paper for this job. Okay. So I'm going to add another piece. that'll look good. So let me see. Oh, good, I can. So the first thing I'd look for is whether or not I can fold the bottom, because it's just easier if you can fold the bottom than gluing extra tabs on. So you folded it, put a few little dots. You want as little glue, as thin a glue as you can, and then I spread it out. Hold it down. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I want that piece go like that. Small snip. Small snip. Make sure your snips are always small. You can go back and make them bigger later. All right, this keeps flopping around. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this piece down here at the bottom. Maybe it'll help add some support. So little snip there. And notice I don't have to put any glue on the parts that I'm crisscrossing. They're just held in place by friction alone. And right there. There we go. So now it's a little bit more stable. I got a couple more pieces. Now I may not have to use all of my pieces. Maybe it just won't look good, maybe they won't fit, but I should be using most of them. I'm wishing now I made a couple of smaller ones. And I could make some smaller ones on there, but I think I'm going to just use these. I think I want another one right there. Snip. Snip right there. There we go. All right, you can start to see how this is working. So that's good. Fold that. Remember, you can use your extras to make tabs. Like if I'm going to use this one on the ground, which I think I'm going to do in a corner, I'm going to have to make some tabs for that. But before I glue this in place, I need to figure out a mark where I want that to go. So I could do a little snip. Snip and a snip. Okay, a small snip. And I need a small snip. There. Now I need to put my glue. Just because it's, ooh, way too much. Way too much. Better spread that out. Kind of have a, to me, it kind of feels like a little bit of a plane, an old biplane. And I think I'm going to have, that one just doesn't want to stay. go. That's what I should do. That. Come on. There we go. All right, and that goes right there. So this one I can't fold the inside, so I'm going to make a couple of more tabs. Okay, so that's not going to come apart, so I'm just going to bend it. Put a little bit of glue, smooth it out. Glue it to one side of this. Like that. Got to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm going to cut another one. The other side here. Okay. Then a smidge of glue on each side, spread it out. I'll glue it down. Alright, if you have like 1 or 2 small leftover pieces, that is okay. But I am pretty happy with my paper sculpture. I'm digging it. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do, once you have yours assembled, okay, and if you want to make other new pieces, like you find out maybe your pieces are too big or too small and you want to make some new ones, that's fine. You can do that. I want you to snap a couple of shots. It's going to be like 2 or 3 shots. You're going to want 2 or 3 different angles, maybe one from above, a couple from the sides, just to get a look at your project. Okay, and then that's all there is for this one. So make sure you get those pictures turned in. This will take a bit of time. So the gluing that you had to do for the paper, the gluing of the 2 pieces of paper will probably take at least an hour or 2 to dry. And then you have to cut out, and then you need to redraw on the back side so that you have stuff on back of both. This happens to be one of my blank ones I had. I made sure to only do 2 because otherwise it looks a little too blank. Then start assembling. Remember, keep your scrap for little tabs if your paper doesn't split. Okay, but if it does split, like this one does, just bend it, put some glue in there, and then lay it flat. Hold it down for about 10 seconds. Okay? Otherwise, use your scrap for the little tabs. Okay, and then little snips. Remember, small snips as you go. Don't try to do anything big because you can't undo a cut. And then take a couple pictures for me from different angles and turn those in. And then I will see you next week.